It's 3 in the morning. Your eyes snap open in the dark, and for a second you have no idea why. Then comes the little spike of panic. Why am I awake? Did I break my sleep? How many hours do I have left? You lie there doing the math, getting more stressed by the minute. And the stress is the only thing actually keeping you awake. So relax, you are not broken. Your body is just trying to do something humans did for thousands of years, and then completely, almost suspiciously, forgot. For most of human history, almost nobody slept 8 hours in one piece. People slept twice. And the strange, quiet gap in the middle of the night was, for many of them, the best part of the whole day. Today we treat 8 unbroken hours as a law of nature. Miss it, and you feel like you failed at being a functioning human. There are apps that grade your night, watches that count your sleep, a whole industry built on one number. But that single solid block of sleep is surprisingly new. It is mostly the creation of one invention, the light bulb. To understand how we lost the second sleep, we have to go back to a world with no light at all after sunset. Imagine darkness so total you cannot see your own hand. That darkness ran your whole night. In the 1990s, a historian named Roger Ekirch was digging through centuries of old diaries, court records, and medical books. He wasn't even looking for sleep, but one odd phrase kept appearing again and again: first sleep. As if everyone back then simply assumed there was a second sleep coming later. Nobody explained it because nobody had to. He found over 500 references, then thousands in a dozen languages, going back as far as ancient Greece. This wasn't one weird village or one strange century. This was simply how most of humanity slept for a very long time. Here is how a normal night actually worked. A first sleep began a couple of hours after dark. It lasted 3 or 4 hours. And this is the whole secret, people simply woke up. Not from a nightmare, not from a noise outside, naturally, gently in the dead middle of the night. They stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours, then drifted into a second sleep that lasted until dawn. So picture it, it's 1 in the morning, you're wide awake. No phone, no Netflix, no scrolling. What on earth did people do? Almost everything. They prayed quietly. They read a few pages by candlelight. They smoked a slow pipe. They talked softly with the person beside them. About the day, about plans, about the dreams they just had. In fact, the half-asleep mind was treasured. People used the calm hour to think over their dreams and turn problems over slowly. Some even visited their neighbors, without leaving their beds, just calling gently through the thin walls. The French had a word for this drifting twilight state between the two sleeps: Dorveille. There isn't even an English word for it anymore. We lost the experience so completely that the language for it quietly disappeared too. And here is the detail nobody tells you. Doctors of the time recommended the gap as the best moment to conceive a child, because after a first sleep, both partners were finally rested. So a huge share of medieval Europe was quietly conceived around 2 in the morning. Now you're thinking, come on, waking up at night is just insomnia. That's a disorder, not some lost tradition. Fair, a pile of old diaries proves people did it. It doesn't prove our bodies still want to. So let's actually run the experiment. 1992. A scientist at the American National Institutes of Health, Thomas Wehr, designed a beautifully simple test. He took 8 healthy volunteers and gave them 14 hours of darkness every single night for a whole month, just like a long, dark winter. The first night, they slept 11 hours straight, simply paying back years of modern sleep debt. But by the 4th week, something ancient woke up inside them. Their 8 hours of sleep had split, all on their own, into 2 clean blocks. 4 hours of sleep, 1 to 2 hours of calm wakefulness, then 4 hours more. The exact pattern from those old diaries. Nobody told them to do it. Given enough darkness, their modern bodies remembered the rhythm entirely on their own. And in that gap, their bodies did something remarkable. Their hormones shifted into deep, calm rest while they were wide awake. High prolactin, low-stress hormones. A drifting, relaxed state Wehr described as close to meditation. Read that again. Lying quietly in the dark at 3 a.m., your ancestors were calmer than you will ever be inside a meditation app. So if 2 sleeps were natural for thousands of years, what killed the second one? One thing: light. As cities lit up, the night stopped being truly dark. By the year 1700, 50 European cities already had street lighting. In 1816, Baltimore became the first American city lit by gas. Streetlights slowly turned the night into a place to be. Coffee houses began staying open all night. Suddenly, the dark hours were for working, drinking, and socializing, not for a second sleep. And the Industrial Revolution wanted bodies that switched off and on like machines, clocking in sharp at dawn. Sleep got squeezed into one tight, efficient block. The first sleep slowly swallowed the second whole. Within a single century, the gap vanished, not just from our nights but from our memory. And here is the cruel irony. Right when the second sleep disappeared, the late 1800s, doctors named a brand new illness. Insomnia. People still woke at night, exactly as humans always had. But now there was nothing to do in the dark. So lying peacefully awake suddenly felt like a problem to be diagnosed and cured. The proof had been hiding in plain sight all along, inside books we still read today. In Don Quixote, Cervantes mentions the first and second sleep in passing, because every reader in 1600 just knew what he meant. Even Homer's Odyssey speaks of a first sleep. Translators in the 1600s kept the phrase exactly. Translators in the 1900s didn't understand it and quietly changed it. They no longer knew what their own ancestors meant. In just a few generations, we didn't only lose the habit, we forgot it had ever existed at all. So back to you at 3 in the morning, heart pounding only because your eyes happen to be open. Researchers point out something gentle. Very often it isn't the waking that harms you. It's the panic about the waking. Your body may simply be running an ancient program, one your great-grandparents would have recognized in an instant. You can't bring back the candlelit world, but you can stop treating a quiet hour in the dark as a personal failure. No phone, no watching the clock. Just let your mind drift exactly the way 1,000 years of humans did before you. Because the alarm clock didn't just steal an hour from your morning. It stole an entire second night, the calmest, quietest hours your ancestors ever knew. So the next time you wake at 3 a.m., don't reach for your phone, just lie there in the dark for a while. Somewhere across the whole of history, 1,000 years of humans are doing exactly the same thing. If this gave you a little peace at 3 in the morning, subscribe for more hidden histories of your own life, and I'll see you in the next story. Sleep well, twice.